Hello, welcome to another housecoat chat, folks. This Sunday, December the 15th, and I am in my wonderful studio with the bright lights and the shiny things, and it looks like my glasses are maybe crooked. Nope, nope, I look okay. Anyways, folks, it is Sunday, December 15th, one day after the glorious reduction of GST on a rotisserie chicken, folks. I call it a rotated chicken simply from the fact that you buy the chicken whole, you enjoy it, you take the leftovers, you make a few sandwiches, and then you take the bones and the scrap meat and you make a soup with it. It's a wonderful animal. The chicken, yes, it eats bugs when it's alive, and it makes a delicious meal for us when it's dead. Also, it gives us eggs in between. The chicken is a wonderful animal, and I have no idea why the rotisserie is taxed at all to begin with in the first place. Yes, the GST holiday, folks. Everybody's celebrating if you're a liberal, making videos after videos showing off what you can save. Geez, somebody just showed off this morning on X that they bought a coffee, saved 2 cents. 2 cents, folks. They saved 2 cents, but our grandchildren's grandchildren will still be paying off all the money we are borrowing to pay for this temporary reduction and you to have a coffee at 2 cents less or 40 cents on a rotisserie chicken. And I just found out PepsiCo's up and pissy all about the whole thing. They're kind of refusing it. I recommend checking out the Canadian Shield on that story, the Northern Perspective on that story. Yes, folks, if you have not seen the Northern Perspective show, I don't have a fancy thing up yet, but I will. I know I'm just lazy. Anyways, just remember the name Northern Perspective. Great show on YouTube and the Canadian Shield. They both discuss it. I am a news junkie and all that. The internet is my life, apparently. According to my lovely wife, Danica, I spend too much time on it. Well, I'm still on it, right? Anyways, it's no big deal, folks. All I could say is that let's get back to this GST holiday. It is a shit show. I really hate to swear. Sorry, YouTube, but basically it is, right? Look at it. It's stupid. Here, the government is trying to promote healthy living supposedly by saying that things are bad, and then they flip around and turn the tax that's on the unhealthy junk food and take it off, right? And then don't get started on like vending machines. Or is anybody actually saving anything buying from a vending machine now? Now that's just a minor portion of it, but it's the idiocy that the liberal government is trying to blowhorn, trumpet, fanfare, confetti falling, everything in between to get your attention to think that the liberals are doing something great. All that hot air that they gave us is exactly that, just hot air. And if depending on the person, it might wake a booze, it might wake a pot, or you might get a blast of cocaine. I don't know. Anyways, it's retarded. But all the attention that's been diverted towards this super GST holiday for 2 months. Of course, the conservatives say no to it. Of course, Jagmeet says we want it permanent. And the liberals are like, we are going to do this. And you know what? It failed. Did the liberals gain any support? None. They pissed off industry such as PepsiCo. I even seen signs on people's businesses that state that if you want your tax credit, you're going to have to apply for it at Canada Revenue when it's tax time because they don't want to deal with the BS of trying to simplify their procedures of what's taxed and not taxed for 2 months. Because that's all it is 2 months. And so they would companies, stores have to try and change their pricing and their machines, point of sale contact, and a few other things to justify the 2 month tax break. It's crazy, right? Crazy. Yes. And then how about the other thing, folks? What are you all thinking about the drones? I'm only to lightly touch on the drones because I think it's a huge distraction of something. And yes, I've heard all the rumors and listened and went down the rabbit hole because I spend too much time on the internet. They could be anything from the Iranian mothership story. That is a load of hooey. My God. Wow. If you fell for the Iranian mothership You are truly a narrative driven, indoctrinated simpleton who's a lemming that went off a cliff with all the other lemmings. Now, the other stuff that they kept talking about, while it could be, army is doing something, right? And then there's what about the people that are tracking, so-called radiation, they're using drones to try and find gamma rays, that there may be a active football nuclear dirty thing going on, right? And they're just trying to actively hunt it down. Now, I heard one story that the Iranians were upset, so they tried to get a dirty bomb to go into the United States so they can blow up like something in Washington in retaliation for the stuff in Syria. Anyway, that's the drone stuff. It is neat, kind of fascinating. I enjoyed all the videos that I've ever seen on the drones. And mind you, it's still a distraction. And it distracted me from a whole lot. And another thing that I like to likely touch on is our history of the world, history of wars, the history of everything else. I am not going to tell you that I am correct or that I am Mr. Supreme Knowledge. I am just a dude in a housecoat. Even though you really can't see that painting that my wife made me, I will be making some small changes so that things are better. And I need to get more batteries for the lights. Anyways, yes, all these things that are going on is insane, right? It's just crazy. The drone story, the GST holiday, the distractions, right? And what do we have going on? Oh, Canada Post. What did we hear Friday? Oh, we're going to order them back to work. Really? Just before the parliament is going to end in the next couple of days. Next week, I think Tuesday it's done, maybe Wednesday. Not positive. I am a political junkie, but I am no expert. Just call me a jack of all trades and master of none. Anyways, yes, back to history stuff. Are we really knowingly knowing our true history of like World War II, before that, the Vietnam War, everything that goes on, including all the stuff that's COVID related right now? There's so much information that is out there, and it's a lot that is confusing and stuff. But getting back to like the history aspect, because I really want to touch on this, people need to start looking at history and realizing that there are more people out there than the victor that writes the story and the history of everything. And if you were to actually go back and look at history, what we've been taught and known, and then if you get thrown a narrative and a pretty factual, backed up by evidence that is in the like halls of Congress of Germany. I don't know exactly what their parliamentary thing is called, but yes, there's history, folks, that we unknowingly have been left out by the people who make our history story. Can't fit everything into a class, right? But at the same time, we need to know the truth. And if we're being fed lies, and then all of a sudden you go back and look in history and you're reading stuff, and then you go, wait a minute, that doesn't add up. And then so you go and you look a little further and you're like, holy crap, they lied to us about that. And it makes you think about the world differently. Now, as an individual, can we do anything? Not much. But if enough of us get together and realize that we've been lied to, then that's a force to be reckoned with. But in the meantime, all I want to encourage you people to do is do your reading, check things out, learn stuff. Just because somebody in a tube on a screen says, the sky is blue, you better go outside and have a look, right? Don't just believe the person that's on the screen and says the sky is blue. Go have a look, you know? And that way you are actually using your mind to verify the statement instead of blindly following it. It's like all the climate change people. Yes, I'll touch this on climate change and I'll probably get a warning, but nonetheless, all the people that I've listened to since I was a young man. So we're going to go back all the way to the 70s. So the 70s, I believe they said an ice age is coming, global cooling. Leonard Nimoy spoke up about it on a program. He was the voice of reason to convince the people that global cooling is a thing. So that's the 70s. The 80s, there was a whole host of things from acid rain to the destruction of the rainforest and a few other things. Global temperature rising, stuff like that really, really wasn't on the radar. Maybe some ice age stuff in the 80s. I am not positive. Then we get the 90s, and what do we have? We have some more stuff on the rainforest. We now went from paper bags to plastic bags because somehow it's better because we're saving the rainforest, right? And if you really think about it, they kept saying that the rainforest in Brazil was the lungs of the world. You know what the lungs of the world really are? It's the big, vast oceans and waters that we have. The lies and the stuff that they manipulate us to try and convince us that the world's in peril is such a shit show. Again, I'm swearing, but sorry, YouTube. Hopefully, you don't really restrict me. I'm new with this, and I just want to enjoy things. I'm in a housecoat. I'm a dude, and I just want the world to wake up a little bit and realize that you too, in your own housecoat, can look up stuff and research and come up with your own mind. Don't listen to the tall foreheads on the TV, right? I mean, they misled us and misled us and misled us. Just the fact that I would love to post up the law that was struck down in the United States and in Canada regarding the use of propaganda on its own citizens, folks. Yes, our own citizens. Now, I believe it was 2012 for Obama's law that he made so that the government can lie to its people again. That law was set up shortly after the Second World War to basically tell you, the citizens, that they're not going to be doing it anymore. Because propaganda was used heavily during World War II. That's why you need to go back and look at history with the new set of eyeballs, put on your reading glasses, and just look at it again. You will be shocked. Trust. Yes, all these things that are going on, the government, the lies, climate science, right? I mean, climate science, to sit there and they think they're so high and mighty and they're right because they got the so called information that they've been given by an institute that was given to money from a government that wants to try and implement more changes and restrictions on people to live a normal life, right? I mean, there is no nation in this world right now that has not improved their society's life without the use of oil and gas. There is not one society that has improved themselves to the status that we have today without the use of oil and gas. It is a natural product. Yes, we could say things are artificial. At the end of the day, it's still a natural product. It's oil. It came from the ground. And yes, there are repercussions for using it. Yes, there is disasters that can happen. But as a society in North America, especially, we've mitigated a lot of the environmental concerns and we try and fix the issues that happen, such as pipelines, disasters such as that. And we control emissions a lot better than the likes of Russia, Saudi Arabia, China, Mexico, and a whole host of countries that aren't doing the same environmental things that we do, and yet we stifle production in North America while importing dirty oil from Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Iran, wherever, and Russia before the war. What good does that do to the environment of the world if we restrict our environmentally controlled industry but allow the rest of the world to flourish? In my mind, in my view, you should honestly think of it this way. We have a wonderful country with wonderful regulations that try to keep the environment in check and safe and prosperous for everyone in the future. That we should be telling the countries that are selling us oil, did you cap your methane leaving your oil fields? If the answer is no, you get a tariff. I'll be a Trump right now. Tariff on you, Venezuela, for not capping your emissions for your production of oil. Saudi Arabia, since you are burning tires, you will no longer be allowed to buy or sell us oil unless that is 100% tariff to stop burning tires. That's what needed to be done. Sorry, I'm starting to slip here, getting a little long. But yes, folks, we need to change things. And how do we change things? By forcing the countries that are making oil to come and adhere to our regulations of environmental safety, worker safety. Yes, that's also important too, folks. The health and safety of the employees in those industries. So we should be punishing these countries to say, you want to sell us oil, you better have the same regulations or we're going to put tariffs on you rather than a carbon tax on the population of Canada, right? If Canada was like the size of Denmark and they had a carbon tax, almost justify a carbon tax. But I don't like taxes, and I don't like taxes that are blatantly ripping us off. We have the government telling us that 8 out of 10 Canadians get money back, but that's a slight trick and a sleight of hand, because what they're saying is that the check you receive this year is going to be better and helpful for you because you're getting money back. But what they don't tell you, like on April 1st, is that the carbon tax is going up again. So whatever savings that you had, gone. And as a person who lives in British Columbia, I ain't gonna see it. I got the world's worst premier right now, and David, it's a hobby EB. Yes, or David, I like edibles EB. Because the guy to me seems aloof, doesn't seem to care, and he's only out for his own political game. Why do I think that's simple? The simple reason I think that is because after the election, he stopped parliament or legislation, sorry. He stopped the BC legislation from happening until the end of its cycle in mid-December, which is roughly now. Instead, what does he do on Friday? He announces a coalition with the BC Green Party to try and keep control of BC legislation. I have huge problems in BC right now, and I don't mean any disrespect to David Eby when I say this, but the election was a shit show, and you are covering it up, in my opinion, and we need an inquiry. Yes, an inquiry, and you, John Rustad, I'm looking at you. Your office is in my town, and I've been there a couple of times, and I've discussed issues with you on election integrity. We need an integrity inquiry on elections in BC. There's too many things that are not right, and it would be cool, neat, and brave if the government were to tackle it with honesty. I don't see it happening, but I want an election inquiry ASAP. Whew! Yes, folks, it's quite the day. It's Sunday. It's kind of nice outside, a little bit chilly, not as cold as Edmonton right now. Edmonton is feeling the cold. And, now that we're going to kind of run this little episode down, I didn't mean to have it go as long as I did. But, folks, I will say this because I'm going to, promote this in a way. Let's go adopt a pet, find an animal, bring it home, and help raise them. And you and that pet will have a better life, right? There is too many pets at shelters and they need a home. And it'd be nice if people can adopt more animals because animals are good for your health. It's good for the animals' health. They do need companionship as well. I don't want to sound religious, but the world is our oyster, it's our dominion, and we have, I guess, dominion over the animals, and they have a connection to us. So why not make that connection happen? There is too much good for animals, and there's too much good for humans when they cooperate in that manner. And also, folks, positive vibes. Let's try not to be angry, but be productive and put the pressure back on where it needs to go, and that is our politicians to make this country better. Be polite, be blunt. Yes, folks, again, take a good day, enjoy your day, positive vibes, peace out, and enjoy your life. And remember, you matter, and what you have to say, a politician should hear. Thank you, and good night.